Hi, I'm Amanda Snook, and this is my story. 1 year ago today, I was in a terrible car accident. We had started the day off being at my parents', my siblings, everybody was there. It was our family Christmas. And after celebrating, me and Brian knew that that evening we had a friend's wedding reception to go to. So we had planned on leaving the boys with my parents, and then we were gonna go. And so while leaving, Brian didn't wear his nice clothes, so we went back to our house after leaving my parents', and we went back so he could change his clothes. Changed his clothes, we got in the truck and started out the driveway, and instead of turning left to go into town, we decided to turn right. There was a good song on, we had no kids, and so we took the long way. And while taking the long way, halfway in, we stopped in the middle of the road and changed drivers. I told Brian, why don't I drive? And so we switched in the middle of the road, and I know when I got in, I do not remember buckling up. So we started off, and I was just getting up to speed. It was probably 30, 35 miles per hour, not even, we just switched, started going, and the next thing I know, I looked up, seeing a sign, and my husband was like, oh my gosh, there's a sharp turn ahead. And I reacted, and I quickly turned the wheel, and that caused, me to hit the gravel on the side of the road. And then we flew into the air, turned, landed, and I was outside of the vehicle when it all came to. Brian was in the back seat of the vehicle, and he crawled out the top, seen me laying on the ground where I was positioned. My head and torso, belly button line, were out of the truck, and the rest, my legs, were inside the truck. He immediately, jumped down, came to my care, and was very freaking out and scared, and he asked me to get up, and I tried to get up and I couldn't. So he then took my legs and was trying to move me from the truck, and had my legs and was pulling on them. And I remember looking down and seeing him pulling my legs, and he was pulling my pants down, and I was like, stop, you're pulling my pants down. And I went to grab him, and that's when I realized, I told him to stop, and I was like, I can't feel my legs. And so he stopped, and he kept trying to help me, and it became harder and harder to breathe. So I finally yelled, and I was like, stop, you need to go find the phone. You have to find our phone. Because when I was driving, I stick it in between my legs, and he had left his phone at home because it was dead. So as we're trying to find the phone, it happens to ring, and it lights up in the grass. And it happened to be my son calling me, Daxton, my oldest, and I don't know, some premonition maybe he had to call, and we found it. And I remember Brian saying, okay, I can't answer his call, and he called 911 then. And in the meantime, when you call 911, you have your first responders. So I think it was Steve Zimmerman was my first responder, and he came over to me, and it was very nice, because at that time I think I was very cold and surrounded by grass, and I had told Brian not to try to help me anymore. We were going to wait for help. And so he arrived. He later had told my mom about wrapping his coat around me because I was really cold. And the ambulance then showed up. They put me on a stretcher, prepare your neck. They're always worried about a neck injury. And I go inside an ambulance. I can remember all of this. I go inside an ambulance, and I seen a girl. She had dark hair, and she asked me my name, and then I think how old I was, and then was going on to my birthday. And I got my name, and I think maybe my birthday, and then I don't remember anything else. I was life-flighted to Bryan West, where I spent a week in ICU. I woke up after an 8-hour surgery. When they originally started it, they thought it'd maybe be 4 hours, and that my injury could have been from my neck down, and that I'd be paralyzed from the neck down. Once they opened my back up, they realized that there's a bag of fluid around a spinal cord, and my bag of fluids was still intact. So they realized that they could put me all back, 12 screws, 2 rods later, an 8-hour surgery. I go to the room, and I'm not sure how long it was until I woke up, and I remember waking up, being intubated, so I couldn't talk, but I really had, I had stuff to say right away. And so was going like this, like I wanted a pen and some paper. And so they got me a pen and paper, and I wrote down I was worried about work and about somebody covering my shift, because you always need 3 pairs in a classroom of preschoolers. And I wanted them to tell Brittany that I wasn't going to be at work, and then I had asked about my legs. And I couldn't tell you who responded, if anybody responded. Maybe they just wanted to wait it out. And a week in ICU, it went really fast. And the next thing I know, they were sending me to Madonna. I took an ambulance to Madonna, and I arrived there. We got put in a small room, and it was around Christmas time. It was December 23rd, so there wasn't very many people there. And I just remember it being so hard at that time. I couldn't really move much. I needed so much help, and there wasn't very much help, and it was just crazy, and it was scary. And weeks passed, and I got moved to a bigger room, and Lindsay came. Everybody decorated my room. I had flowers, all the works, and therapy started. Once therapy started, you had a busy day. I would take a picture of my schedule in the morning so Brian knew, this is what I'm doing. And I'd send it to my mom so she knew, and the boys knew. Matt would come into my room, 9 o'clock, you were out of your room and you were starting. And they started me with leg loops. So first of all, you had to learn how to transfer on a slide board onto the mat. And once you got your slide board down, then we're getting your legs up. You're not just sitting on the mat, you're gonna pull your legs up. And at that time, I wish that I had really small legs, because your legs are so heavy. And they gave me leg loops to try to pick my legs up, and we did the leg loops. We started mastering that, then got rid of the leg loops, and then I was picking my legs up myself. Once I got the mat done, then I moved on to a bed. Once you get the bed mastered, now you're gonna get onto the bed and you're gonna do exercises. You're gonna try to sit up, you're gonna move, and and a bed is very soft, and it can be very hard and challenging, but I made it through. While there, I also had OT. My left side was the side that got the most damage, and so I had radial nerve damage on this arm, and I couldn't open my hand at the time. So I worked with Jessica, who was my OT, and worked on my hand. As you can see, now it's fine. And she was the one to teach me all my life skills. So I had to learn to transfer from my wheelchair onto a little shower bench, and we practiced showering. Then we did cooking. I made spaghetti. That was my meal, and Brian came down and I made him spaghetti. It is very challenging to cook in a wheelchair. Your face is right here, and your food that you're trying to cook is right in your face. So it's challenging. It really still is challenging. I like the oven and make stuff in the oven. My time at Madonna, I spent 2 months there, and it was good. They were really good. I remember thinking back, because there's so many OTs and PTs, and I thought, how did I get chosen, Matt and Jessica? Because I felt like I had the best ones. And they were just so supportive and always there. And I kept a positive attitude throughout the whole part of it because I knew that God had spared me for some reason. I was alive. Yes, half of me doesn't work and it's very challenging, but I was so thankful to God for saving me, and so I knew I had a purpose. So my purpose isn't to just be sad about my injury, it's to move on. I had to move on, and I had to learn to live my life and take care of 3 boys, be, a mom and a wife and a daughter and an aunt. I had so many roles that I had to come back and play that I knew having a positive attitude was going to be my best medicine, and that's what got me through. And I got released from Madonna February 16th. I remember thinking how great it was. I got awarded the Madonna Spirit Award, and it was sad to see because you had grown as a family. Like all your nurses and aides and OTs and PTs were your family for 2 months, and they took care of you and they loved you, and you created a good bond with them. And it was hard to leave and to say goodbye to them, but yet I was so excited to go home and have my boys and see them every day and know what they were doing and, be able to take care of them again. I said my goodbyes. It was sad. I got in my van. We drove home. We got home, and I can remember rolling through the door, and it just hit me oh, I'm home. I have to transfer by myself. I have to give my medicine by myself. I have to take a shower by myself. There was just so many roles that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on my own now. I don't have that assistance, that great help. And that first week was very hard. I maybe lost my positive attitude for a little bit. I would say out of my whole entire experience of this injury, going home was probably the hardest part of it because it was me to do that, and I had to be my positive myself, and I didn't have those other people, and it became really hard. And I remember rolling into my bedroom a lot and crying. I didn't want the boys to see, and just crying. And there was one point that I did say I couldn't do it anymore, and I did think that I couldn't. And I remember my husband coming in. I knew that I had to do it, that I didn't have a choice. And I reminded myself why I was here. And I had to pick up the pieces, and I had to move on. And going home was also really hard because it was the place where it happened. And so those country roads, it was hard. And after a little pep talk and me realizing, okay, I went to Madonna for a reason. There's a reason, that they released me. I was taught this stuff to do it myself. I can do this. And I would say within the next month, it all came together and I was able to do it. I was able to move on, and I realized, okay, I have the potential to do this and to move on, but I needed a lot of assistance and encouragement. And Kip was a main guy. He was the psychologist at Madonna, and he was always there at first. While I was at Madonna, it was like, oh yeah, I don't need, I'm good. He'd always, oh, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. And I always thought that I was fine at Madonna. And I remember getting a hold of him once I was home, and I was like, okay, now that I'm home, it's not fine. I get why you were trying to tell me these things and work these things out. And so I still see him, and every time I roll into Madonna, he just happens to be there. And okay, you need to come see me, and I enjoy those talks, and we work it out. And I never did say my injury.
You got around to it, kind of. but
I don't know if you want me to say it now, like.
if you want.
Okay, so in the end, my injury, they do an Asia test on you with a safety pin, and it's sharp and dull, and they do that throughout all of your body, even your fingers. And I am an Asia A complete, and my injury, my back was broken at the T8, T9 level, so it's around your belly button. So I lose all feeling from the belly button down. No, my spinal cord wasn't severed. It's still intact, but the damage from the break and seeing, it was like this. And so there's been damage, bruising, scarring. You can always have that hope of someday, you're gonna walk again. But as of right now, no, I don't have any feeling. I'm still working as an Asia A complete. You can move to be an incomplete, but it's just been a year. So my doctor keeps telling me it's only been a year. You have plenty of time and hope and prayers. And that's why coming and showing my church family, my video and telling them thank you is so important to me, because they were the people that were always there. They were my first visitors, and my mom's group, you can tell them anything and they're all there. I remember them all coming up and seeing me at Madonna. And it was like late at night. It was later at night, and they stayed for quite a while. And they, just to have that talk and see the hope and love in their eyes for me. Great. I have so much support, my family, my everything. I'm very lucky to be here.
On December 16th, we were having the time of our life, having a Christmas party. Brian and Amanda were leaving to go to a dance, and the boys were staying with us. It was warm, we were doing a fire pit. All of a sudden, we see EMTs driving by our house. We could hear sirens. They got lost, going everywhere. Daxton came to me, and our daughter Jessica was there, and we had a weird feeling that it was Brian and Amanda. So we tried calling, they didn't answer. Finally, we called Grandma Becky, and she said they haven't made it. At that point, we knew they were in the wreck. And I called Amanda's phone. Brian answered, and I said, "Why are you answering Amanda's phone?" Because at that point, then I knew something happened to her. And he said, "There's been an accident. She's hurt really, really, really bad." And then everything went dead. So my daughter and son, Justin and Jessica and Jessica's husband, we jumped in their truck. I knew it had to be one of the curves. The first curve, no one was there. Where the second curve was, there was tons of EMTs. We got out of the truck, I went running up. I saw a cop friend of ours, Aaron, and he grabbed me and he hugged me and he said, "It's Amanda. And she's hurt really bad." I could see Brian laying on the ground. At that point, all they could tell us was that she was in an ambulance being taken care of people. We could not see her. Our daughter was trying to get to the ambulance. Nobody knows this part, but I look up and here comes Judge Stewart, and he's walking to me, and he just grabs me and hugs me, and he said, "I shouldn't be here. I'm not going to the ambulance. I will be with you. Amanda's hurt really bad. The helicopter's coming in. They're going to land right over there. Let's watch it land. Let's watch them put her in, and then we're going to get Mike, and we're heading to Lincoln." Through this whole thing, I never lost faith that Amanda was going to die. I don't know, God was so strong in me. I never lost faith. We went home. We had Amanda's boys at the house, and all we said was, "Mom and Dad were in an accident. Dad is in an ambulance going to Fairbury. Mom is in the helicopter." And I think at that point they took the boys outside to see if they could see the helicopter flying so they could tell their mom, "Bye and we love you." We tell Mike. We got in Judd's truck. Sarah and Delaney were there. We called them. Immediately I call my sister who lives in Lincoln. She is a nurse. I tell her, "Get to Bryan West, meet the helicopter there. Amanda's on her way." And then I'm like Amanda. my next thing was, oh my gosh, I need to call Pastor Tom. I got to call Don Moman and tell him I won't be in church on Sunday, to which Jessica did a lot of that stuff. In the truck, nobody said a word. You know, I don't think Judd's probably ever driven to Lincoln as fast as he has. Just called people and I just prayed. Let her be alive, let her be alive. One of the gentlemen at the accident scene said that she couldn't feel her legs. And I even said at that point, God, I don't care if she can't walk. I want my girl back. We get to the hospital. By then, my sister and her husband and Delaney and Sarah were there. They won't let us see her, which was devastating to me. The helicopter landed, they're wheeling her, but we can't see her. To which my sister thought that was strange, but we understand. Then the doctors, they usher us up to a room, the doctors come in, and the first doctor, Dr. Samonte, tells us that she's paralyzed from the neck down. Very devastating. You know, I'm trying to be supportive for Brian. Another doctor comes in and tells us she'll have a surgery tomorrow. She's broken her back. We think the spinal cord. I mean, and they don't really know. The one doctor just said to start praying. So after everything calmed down, Brian and I stayed at the hospital. Everybody else left. We both sat in these recliners, and I was just very supportive for Brian. I said, Brian, I don't care if she never walks again. I even looked at one of the doctors, Dr. Vandavucci, and I said, I don't care if she can't walk, but I want her to be able to sit in a chair. She can't be paralyzed from the neck down. And Brian and I waited the whole night. You don't sleep in a hospital. The next day, we had so many people in the waiting room. They told us they'd never seen this many people in a waiting room. And what we called Gail and Sylvia Cross, and we had Tom and Janet. We have all these pastors there, all of our family. There's a divorce in Brian's family, so we've got everybody there. And my daughter Jessica, Amanda lost her glasses. She's blind without them. Jessica's calling her friends, and we're getting glasses made, and we're waiting, and they don't call us, and you can tell Brian's nervous, and pretty soon they did call and say, you know, surgery's taking longer than we thought. And then when she was done, Dr. Vandavucci takes just the immediate family into a little room, and he's telling us everything he did, the rod, the screws, and nobody's asking the question. And finally I said, okay, I want to know, is she going to be able to sit? And he said, yeah. It wasn't as bad as we thought. She'll be able to sit. That's all I wanted to hear. I mean, he answered our prayers. The staff is great there. And like I shared before, the hardest thing, well, then we moved 3 boys into our home with us, which I'm very close to my grandsons. They're awesome. School, we had to notify school. You have so many things you have to do you don't think about. One of the things, my husband, men want to fix things. So the first thing he does is, oh, we got to get a van. So he and Justin are out looking through ads to buy me a new van so we can transport Amanda. I mean, he was measuring wheelchairs, so I could have cared less about this new van, but Justin went with him, and we got the new van, and then it's going to Madonna. It's, like Amanda said, that first weekend it was Christmas. It was not good, but we made it, and went up there a lot. When school got started back up, every Friday the boys came home. I left work early every Friday. That was my time with the 3 boys. We had a great time together. Every Friday, Amanda would come walking through the garage door. Hey, I'm home. Oh my gosh, hear what this kid did today. Oh my gosh, Mom. The first time I had the boys and that didn't happen, I just sat at the table and cried. That was it's still very hard on me. I miss my Fridays. In the summertime, there'd be iced tea waiting for her. We'd sit outside, the boys would be playing. I missed all of that. But through it all, we have the most awesome church family. They've taken care of us. Friends and neighbors came to Amanda's house and cleaned. We did all this stuff. And I still have her. We have our same life back. We go shopping together. We love to spend money and shop. We love clothes. The only thing is, it just takes a bit longer to load her in the car. Got to take
We have to find big bathrooms so we can calve. We have to trust that the 3 boys, when you're at Restaurant Lincoln, we can leave 3 boys and we can go together. I mean, but life is good. It's awesome. I have her back.